But let me address your voicemail piece first.
Okay.
Because it's one I get a lot. Any tactic, voicemail, email, cold calling, video, direct mail, holograms, whatever the next thing is in 2020, cave drawings, can be effective or not effective. So it's never the medium. The medium's always going to change. Movies can be awesome and they could suck. TV shows could be awesome and they could suck. All right, so it's never the medium per se. It's usually always the message, what we're saying. And generally speaking, when people aren't responding to our cold outreach and they're not interested, it's because you're not interesting.
Okay.
And the reason you're not interesting is for one main reason. Who are you selling to?
Are you asking me like, okay, we are selling to the financial institutions, so credit unions and banks.
No, that's a company, but who specifically in that institution are you selling to?
So usually they're VPs at levels so basically the personas that we target are marketing, business development, operations, and member services, member experience.
What's the title of one person that you're selling to? The title of one person?
VP of marketing, that's a good one.
Have you ever been a VP of marketing at a financial services company?
Nope.
And that's a problem. And the reason it's a problem, and we'll talk about how to mitigate it, the reason it's a problem is that you don't speak the same language as they do. Let me give you an example. I'm a triathlete. So if you were to sell me anything in a triathlon world, a product, and you said, I save you lots of time, I save you money, I make you go faster, that's very generic. And that's not how triathletes talk.
Right.
A triathlon person sounds something like this. Hey, Josh, I noticed that you are doing a full Ironman in November. If you're like a lot of the triathletes I work with that are 49 years old, when you're on a 67-mile ride, right around 37 miles, your sit bones start to hurt and you get chafing and numb and you have to stand up on the grips so that you're not as aero and it takes you longer to complete the race. Has that ever happened to you? Sit bones, 57 miles, Ironman race, chafing. This is all the language of a triathlete. That person speaks triathlon. And because that person speaks triathlon, I don't have to go through a filter in my head to translate what the heck are they talking about. Save money, save time, go faster. Generic marketing lingo, end-to-end platforms. It's very specific, crispy language. And because you're not a triathlete, you probably have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. But if you are selling to a triathlete and you know the lingo, I'm going to be much more responsive because I, in fact, do have that problem. So we have to get much closer to the person we're selling to, specifically, what exactly are they struggling with specifically? So for me, numbness, chafing, right around mile 37 on my triathlon bike of a long 100-mile ride. I just can't take it anymore. I got to stand up. And when you stand up on a triathlon bike, you're less aerodynamic, and so you go slower. So that's a specific, very specific problem. It's very different than are you riding slow on a bike? So mostly all the time when I take a look at your LinkedIn messages, your voicemails, your emails, and we could certainly look at them. And we could actually take a look right now, and we'll do this, right? We'll actually take a look when people listen to your voicemail message. The first thing they do is they do this. You're seeing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Let's go see.
ILA.
ILA. Is this you?
Yeah, this is me.
Well, let's see what this says. Oops. There. Helping, is this you?
Yeah.
Helping enterprise engage with customers in real time. So that to me smells like the stench of sales and marketing language.
Okay, I like it.
So it doesn't sound like crispy language like how your customers would talk.
Yeah.
They're not waking up every day saying, I want to engage with customers in real time, probably. Right? So this is your website.
Yeah.
Right? So if we take a look, for instance, at mine,
Yeah.
so you can kind of see an example here. What's the crispy problem that I solve?
Yeah.
Not taking enough meetings with qualified buyers, getting ghosted. This is how my customers talk. After your first sales meeting, read this profile. Take a look at your company's website. What is your website?
Coconut Software.
Coconut Software. Let's see.com. Let's take a look. Appointment engagement has never been more important. I don't know your audience, but is that how they talk about their problem? Don't know. So tip number one, before we get into what to say, is we got to get closer to our audience. How do you do that? There's a couple ways. The best way is to actually interview some people that recently bought within the last 45 days.
Okay.
And you start to ask them, what was going on? When was the first time you started thinking about switching from what you were currently doing? Because everyone's getting the job done today somehow. Your customers didn't wake up one day and say, I want to buy Coconut software. You didn't wake up one day saying, I want to buy a mattress. $7,000 purchase. A bunch of things happened before you just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take sleeping on that mattress anymore. How much is your software on an annual basis, roughly?
It ranges between like 20 to 30K.
No one's waking up and spending 30K. Maybe you buy a piece of gum, but for 30K, there's a bunch of things that happened that all of a sudden caused them to fire what they were using and to hire something else for 30 grand. Because there's a lot of risk when I buy a $30,000 thing. I might not know how to use it. Is it going to work? Am I going to get fired? I have a habit of the thing I'm currently using. We have to understand all those struggles so that we can use it in our voicemail messages, cold emails, and cold calls.